Morning lovelies, welcome to another in-depth. Today we're going to be looking at, well, scheduling again. Sorry. I know I go on about it a lot, I've spoken about it in my other videos, but it's something I really believe in and has really helped me with my depression over the years. So I'm gonna show you some of the things I use to keep on top of my life. First up, scheduling, I know, is a bit of a daunting word. It brings back kind of strict regimes of you must do this at this at this. And it doesn't have to be. Scheduling can be as simple as leaving yourself notes on the fridge. So, tools can be as simple as, pen and paper, right up to personal organisers. Some of the things that I always have on me are notepad, pen. I've normally got a 5 on me. If you don't want to carry around a big hefty notepad, you can pick up these little ones for 20p. Something else I have a lot of scattered around my desk mainly is, again, super tiny cute notepads. This is one of my little Rilakkuma ones. Or memo pads. So I've got 2 here. Another Rilakkuma because he's adorable. And these little books have, tons of different post-it notes. Some with lines, for if you need to write lists. Some that are just cute pictures. And the good thing about these is they kind of cheer you up when you look at them, so that's always a good thing. And I've also got my Hello Kitty one. Which again is really good and handy around the computer because it's got a whole range of different types of notes. So you've got big ones, and then you've got these little ones here, which are great for just taking down oh shit, I need to do this. So they're really handy for that. Other things that I find pretty much invaluable: my phone. It's great for taking notes. It's great for recording little snippets of audio. It's it's a phone. It's mostly I use it for my alarms, because if I'm gonna have set things where I need to go, oh shit, at 2 o'clock I need to do this, then if I have an alarm set, I'm not gonna forget. Another thing I find very handy, especially with my caring, bit old school, file of facts. And I know they're clunky, they're a pain to carry around, but honestly, they are just a lifesaver. So I've opted for quite a good one. So in this one I've got kind of card holders. The top thing is not a credit card, it is a lockpick set. Because I frequently forget my keys. And I'm actually reasonably adept at picking locks. And then it's got nice big gaps for writing appointments, like 10 o'clock I've got an appointment at the hospital, or 3:45 I've got my CBT therapy. And then you've got things for kind of notes and stuff in the back for addresses and just general notes as well. And I've got keeping my paperwork in here and everything. And then it's even got to-do lists as well. So it is a bit cumbersome. It tends to live in my bag of holding. So there's that. Lastly, lists and actual schedules. So I've got a couple here that I use frequently. First off, I'm going to start with something that's not so intimidating. Something I help with my scheduling to lose weight. Since 4 of us are living in the house again, I've slacked a little bit on this. But that is meal planners. I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds like, oh, why would I do that? It's a lot of work. And it is. It's a pain in the ass. But it's also helpful, because if you are someone who frets about decisions, if you make decisions for your week's meals all up front, then you don't have to worry about it on the night or the night before. This house is terrible. We keep forgetting to get meat out for dinner the next day, which ends up not only being expensive but a nightmare when we're trying to decide what we want. We have started doing things like keeping a list of all the meat that is in the freezer on the freezer, so whenever the meat's got enough we can scratch it off. But the good thing about this, and unfortunately I can't remember where I printed these off of, so I will have to have a look, but you've got your days of the week, so you can just be like, oh, today I'm going to have spaghetti bolognese, although that's Sunday, so I suppose that should be a roast. So, like, roast dinner, spaghetti bolognese, pizza, these aren't healthy options, chicken and couscous, lamb sheesh, you know, and then you can just, and then you know, oh, well, okay, Thursday we're going to have kebabs, so do I have everything I need to do kebabs on Thursday? So on top of like getting the meat, you're pre-planning in your head for the rest of the week. Oh, well, I'm going to need to buy pitchers because that's not something we keep in the house very often. So it's really handy for that. It isn't for everyone, but it's something I found really works if you struggle with those kind of decisions where you literally stare at the freezer for 10 minutes going, I don't know what I want to eat tomorrow. So there is that. Then I have two schedules. One you saw the other day, which is this one. And this one will be new to you, but is equally important to me. So, first up, I'm going to start with the one you haven't seen, which is Weekly Planner. Now, I was actually given these in my therapy several years ago, and I still use them. That's how helpful they are. So, this one is a very general planner. I really recommend this if you're not used to scheduling. I have the link for it, I will put it below. It's just really handy for being like, okay, so Monday morning, what do I need to do? And it could be simple things like, you know, clean the house, or write something, or play a game. It doesn't have to be all work related. If you work, then most of these will be like, well, work. But you can still fill in like the afternoon ones or the evening ones. So what I love about this one is you've got the evening gap. So if we look at this, you've got it broken down into really simple boxes. So you've got your morning, your afternoon, your evening, and they're totally general, and it's for all 7 days. And I was using this in the early instances to be like, okay, so in the morning I need to remember to eat, and I need to remember to like focus on me stuff that makes me happy. And I still use the schedules for that to a certain degree. But the other good thing about these big planners is because there's so much room, you can be as vague or as detailed as you want with them, and they're great for recording moods. So if you're noticing like, oh, well, Tuesdays I always have a bit of a downer day, start recording like, oh, today I went to do this and my mood was this. So for example, today I went shopping in the supermarket and that made me anxious and I wanted to go home. And just put like anxious, wanted to go home, and shopping next to it. And that way it's a good way of jotting things down, and then you can look back at them and see if there's any correlation between what you're doing and how you feel. Because as soon as you know those correlations, you can start fighting it. The more structured schedule, and you can get them a lot more structured than this. I've actually found one on the website I'm going to recommend, which I haven't printed out because I'm lazy and I haven't gone and gotten printer ink yet. So I'm actually using altered versions of an old one. The new one that I'm going to link below is in 2-hour increments and covers a lot more of the day. So you can kind of, if you're more of an evening person, it's great for that. As you can see, I've altered it from an old one, don't be afraid to do that. If you've got old ones laying around, just alter them. You don't have to print out new. If you want to, if it makes you feel happier, go for it, but it's not mandatory. You don't have to do it. If you can draw these up by hand if you want. Some people find that really therapeutic. To be honest, I've got cats. It's a nightmare having pencils. So we've got timer activity, all the days of the week, your weekly notes, because I did touch on this one the other day. And the way I've altered this one for me is I've got 9 to 10, hasn't changed, that's still breakfast and feed animals and stuff. 10 to 11 has changed from job search to YouTube content, so I will normally record between 10 and 11 in the morning, because that way it gives me the afternoon to edit if I need it. 11 to 12, this is actually adapted going forward for when I'm streaming, so I'm hoping to be streaming between 11 and 1 several days a week, so it's adapted for that. As you can see, I haven't done Mondays because this is for next week. Between 1 and 3, I've left this open. I've got lunch and creative in both those boxes. Then next to them I've also got mum time, because it depends on how my mum is feeling, depends on what we'll do in those kind of time frames. If she's had a bad night, then I'll probably be on my own for those time frames, which means I can get kind of creative stuff done, or menial tasks like folding laundry done. And 3 to 4 I've got editing. Now I've only done this up to 4 o'clock because then I know I've got the evening free to catch up on any tasks I didn't manage to do that I set during the day, or if Rafe Pool, because Rafe Pool tends to finish 4 or 5 o'clock, it means I can spend some time with him and do trolley through YouTubes and things like that. And then at the bottom, daily notes for catching up on things. So like on top of these, I also need to clean out the snakes, or I also need to post a letter. So that I use those for more kind of general tasks that I need to do that don't fit into the categories I've written. And there are days that you won't do what you've got on your schedule. It's gonna happen. There are gonna be days where you feel sick, or you just mentally can't face the idea of sitting down and drawing for an hour. It happens, and don't beat yourself up about it, because that, if you didn't do it today, you can do it tomorrow or next week when you're feeling a bit more into it. And make sure when you've completed a week, and if you've had a really good week, positive reinforcement. Go out, treat yourself. Stay in, watch your favourite film, or, go buy yourself ice cream, or if there's a game that you really want that's on sale, then, grab it if you've got the spare cash. Rafe Paul's one of those people that can stay in bed, like, all morning and just lay there and chill. I'm not one of those people. I literally spent 6 months in therapy getting me out of that pattern of just staying in bed doing nothing, because it was damaging and harmful to me. Because for me it was a coping mechanism, like we kind of discussed in a previous video. So I find schedules actually help keep me on track with that kind of thing, that if I know I'm just like, okay, well I've got to be up at 9, it hasn't been working recently, I've been getting up at 11, which is really bad, but if I know I've got to be up at 9, then I know, okay, well from 9 to 9:30, that's the animals fed, then I can sit down for half an hour, check Facebook, check Twitter, check my emails, and then I can have some breakfast and get on with the YouTube stuff. I mean, normally I'm setting it up as I'm eating. I'm one of those people that I work while I eat. It's a bad habit. And then I will have an alarm. This is where the phone comes in handy. I would have an alarm set for 10 to tell me that I need to focus on the YouTube content, and another one set at 11 telling me, okay, you need to think about streaming soon. So a lot of these can be used interchangeably. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about very, very briefly was a website called getselfhelp.co.uk. Now, I know self-help is a little bit of one of those taboo words, in the fact that it's kind of frowned upon, the whole self-help thing. But the website is actually incredibly useful. It's where I get a lot of my forms from, and I will actually do probably its own segment, just because there's so much on there to cover. If you have a spare 5 minutes, look through it. It literally covers everything from bulimia to coping with chronic pain to budgeting to scheduling, making suicidal thought help sheets. It really covers everything. It's geared towards cognitive behavioural therapists and things they can use in their sessions with their patients. So it's one of those things, it can be used by both sides. I stopped using it for a little bit. I checked it out the last few days, and like I said, they've got so much on there now that they didn't have before, including these new schedules. So yeah, go check it out. I will cover it in more depth, probably later this week or early next week. Anyway, as always, thank you for tuning in, guys. If you have any comments, any feedback, positive or negative, then leave it in the comments box below. And if you are enjoying these, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notifications when the next one goes live. Until next time, have an awesome day, and I will see you all soon. Bye bye.